In today's video, we continue on with our NHL season preview series. Today, we look at one of the young, fun, up-and-coming, very talented teams in the league, the San Jose Sharks. Will they be able to be more competitive this year? How much of a step can their young players make? Today, we're going to take a look at what we expect the lineup to look like and the expectations for the Sharks for the 25-26 season coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're previewing the upcoming season for the San Jose Sharks. Of course, they've been near the bottom of the standings for the last few years. Today we're going to examine whether or not we feel they're going to be able to move up a whole lot on that. Take a look at their young players, what kind of expectations they face, what's the lineup going to look like, and just what's the overall kind of growth going to be for this team for the upcoming year. So in case you're new to this series, essentially we're going to do a quick recap of what the 24-25 campaign looked like for the team. Look at some team and individual stats. We'll look at their cap space, look at addition, subtraction, so how the team has changed over the year, projected lineup, any rookies that can impact this lineup, what should we expect as far as trades, contract extensions, and what are the top questions facing the team going into the campaign. So let's first get started with recapping the 24-25 season here for the San Jose Sharks. Of course, it was another, dismal year as far as standings go, but lots of fun at the same time. I hope Sharks fans had the ability to kind of ignore the record a little bit and focus more on the growth and the development of some of these players who are going to be stars in this league for a long, long time. They ended up with a record of 20, 50, and 12 with 52 points. I mean, that's not great. They were dead last in the Pacific, near the bottom of the league. But like I said, all in all, I still found them be a fun team to watch. I mean, typically for me being on the East Coast, the Sharks sometimes can be a challenging team to watch. I do watch them a lot when they're on East Coast tours for the road trips. When they're at home, it can be a little challenging, but I found myself wanting to watch this team more and more last year because there was just a lot of talented kids that were just fun to really watch them play. Of course, it was also the first year of new head coach Ryan Warsofsky. I think he had a pretty decent year. I don't think the expectations were very high on standings, and I think he'll have really not a lot of pressure in that sense for the first few years here. But all in all, they were dead last in the league, though, in both goals for and goals against. Ranked 32nd with 208 goals for, 310 against. So we need to see some improvement there, and I do hope that this team, and I think they can, make some strides forward this year. I don't expect them to be super high in the standings by any means, but I do think there's enough talent there that they can definitely win some more games and become a little bit more competitive. As far as the playoffs go, they obviously missed last year, and they've been out of the playoffs for 6 consecutive years. The last time we saw them in the playoffs was in 2019 when they lost in the Western Conference Final. So it's been a while. Now, most teams, like we said, a lot of these full-on rebuilds have been taking about 8 years. It's not unusual. Like, look at, teams like the Senators, for example, Montreal was able to kind of, accelerate the rebuild a little bit, but they also didn't tear it down to the, the bare minimum here like we saw other teams like Ottawa and San Jose do. So, it's not quite the same. Meanwhile, you've got teams like Buffalo. It feels like they've been rebuilding forever, and I kind of feel like they started a rebuild after a lot of years of going through a rebuild. So you don't want to see that. That's for sure. But I do believe in the vision here of Mike Greer as the GM, and seems to be doing a good job of assembling lots and lots of young talent. Of course, they were led last year by first overall pick Macklin Celebrini, who had a fantastic rookie season with 63 points. Did miss some time, got hurt very early on, and that certainly derailed a great first game, but ultimately, time was missed, but he still had a great year, led the team in scoring. William Eklund continues to progress as well, 58 points, was second in scoring. Newly signed free agent acquisition Tyler Toffoli, who's I think going to be huge for this team, continued to be a really solid player, putting out 54 points, around 30 goals. He seemed to have a great relationship with guys like Celebrini and Smith, and I just think he's going to be the ultimate pro here. I don't think there's any desire from Toffoli to leave the Sharks. He signed there for a reason. I believe they've got family in the area through his wife's side. She's originally from California. He played in LA a long time, and I think he was at a stage of his career where He just kind of wanted to have some, consistency. He had a scenario where he bounced around a bit, right? After leaving LA, he went to Vancouver to Montreal, played in Montreal for a few years, goes to Calgary, then he goes Calgary to Winnipeg. Basically did the Canadian tour, and now he finds himself with the Sharks. So, ultimately, like I said, I don't think he has any desire to want to leave. He'll be one of the few veterans that sticks around for a few years. Will Smith was fourth in team scoring as well, with 45 points also. Might have started a little slower, but really came on, I thought, and got better as the year went along. We did see some changes for this team throughout the year. A lot of guys were moved. It wasn't too late in the year when they traded goalie Mackenzie Blackwood. Of course, they moved Mikael Granlund. They moved Fabian Zetterlund. That one was a little bit more of a surprise, where he was a little bit of a younger-ish player. But I think there was some concerns that they weren't real crazy. I don't think where his next contract was going, so they saw an opportunity to give him, move him to Ottawa and get a player like Zach Ostapchuk back, who they feel could be hopefully a good fixture in their bottom six moving forward. Jake Wallman was moved, Cody Ceci, Nico Sturm, guys that they basically picked up for deadline flips for sure. But ultimately the team did change a lot with a lot of their veteran players. Now going into this current season, right now they have just over $9 million in cap space, $9.24 million, and that's only because of the recent acquisition of the Carey Price contract, which they got from Montreal. Theoretically, as far as active players, they would be, almost between $19 and $20 million in space available, but that Price contract was acquired so that they could make moves throughout the year. We know that they're going to have a similar approach this year, where they're likely going to sell off some veterans as the season goes along, and they don't have to worry about falling under the salary cap floor. But as far as looking at the full changes to this team, how the team has changed throughout the year, looking at the subtractions, which are a lot less than the additions. Like I said, a lot of their other subtractions happened near the deadline with Granlund, Zetterlund, Wallman, Ceci. All those guys moved out. But during this offseason, we saw them move along from Thomas Bordeleau. He's no longer a Shark. Walker Dewar is no longer a Shark. Scott Sabrin, who was more of a minor leaguer, and Daniel Gushkin. So those four guys no longer with the Sharks, but they brought in some interesting players to try to make this team a little bit better as well. Additions to the team this year include Shane Bowers. Bowers is probably going to be an up-and-down player, somebody who can be a call-up option. I'm not sure he'll start the year in San Jose. He'll probably go with the Barracuda. They signed Adam Gaudette, who comes over from Ottawa after a bit of a, I don't know what you want to call it, but he's had a bit of a journeyman career over the last 3-4 seasons, but found a home in Ottawa where he was essentially the fourth-line center. But then due to the absence of David Perron early in the year, missed an extensive time after taking a leave for personal reasons, Gaudette got a chance to play more in the top six, get some power play time, and absolutely hit a career season. So he blew his career numbers up for goals absolutely out of the water. So Gaudette, with a big opportunity there, gets a 2-year deal out of the Sharks. There was definitely interest for Ottawa to keep him, but not at that kind of money or term. So Gaudette goes to San Jose. They also got Philip Kurashev, formerly of the Blackhawks. Jeff Skinner comes over from Edmonton after, what appeared to be a nice, cheap pickup on a skilled winger who has scored 30, 40 goals before. Didn't work out with the Oilers. He'll go to San Jose and see what he can do there. Ryan Reeves was picked up from the Leafs. Of course, toughness. But to be honest, and we'll get into this in the next segment here, I don't know where Reeves fits, but we'll see. A couple of veteran defensemen come in on short deals as well. John Klingberg, who finished the year with the Edmonton Oilers, and Dmitry Orlov, formerly of the Hurricanes, before that with the Capitals. Alex Nedeljkovic also comes over. Of course, was with the Red Wings most recently as well. And of course, like I said, the Carey Price contract was an addition to get them in a situation for a cap space that they were not anywhere near the floor. If they make some trades, they don't have to take contracts coming back. Now, as far as rookies that can impact this roster and this team this year, and we're looking at guys who could make impact, because there's a lot of guys who would fall into that rookie category who might get some games this year, but I look to a player like Sam Dickinson. Sam Dickinson, to me, looks NHL ready. They do have enough veteran guys, though, that I don't know that he's going to start in the NHL. They easily could, because I do think he's ready for it, but I think he'll probably go to the Barracuda and maybe be a call-up option a little bit later, but we'll see. There's also injuries that play a role. Michael Misa, of course, their first-round pick in 2025, I expect will play a big role. Those are the two main rookies that I expect to have the most impact, but a guy like Bystad also will be interesting to see how his development goes this year. As far as trade bait goes, like any moves we expect him to make, to be honest, I think San Jose will be busy, but not immediately, and I think it's going to be gradual, just like last year throughout the season. We could see a couple of trades early, and I suspect a bunch more late by the deadline, but I suspect this will be the last year for Muriel Ferrero. He's finally, I think, at a point where they definitely move him. Klingberg, likely only if he plays well and gets interest, he'll be a one and done as well. Nick Leddy, another player who came over, I suspect Leddy will probably get interest to go elsewhere. Guys like Jeff Skinner, Ryan Reeves could be interesting at the deadline too, but again, it's going to depend on their performance. They have to play better than they did last year to get that interest. As far as contract extensions goes, I'm not sure we're going to see much of anything around that this year, during the season at least. I think they've made it pretty clear they're focused on the short term, and really there's a bunch of veterans that could be extended partway through the season. Anybody who signed a one-year deal will be eligible in January. The rest will be eligible anytime. I don't know that we're going to see much of that. I think that they're going to kind of take their time here, sell off some veterans, make room for young talent. I don't really see that being something we see a whole lot of this year. Now, as far as a projected lineup, this is going to be challenging. They have more than enough players on the D side and the forward side, and I do wonder if some of their young guys might be kind of, maybe blocked, if you will. I'm not sure where they're going to put them, or if they're going to see some guys end up on waivers or traded before the season starts. We'll see. But in goal, your tandem is going to be Nedeljkovic and Askarov, of course, Askarov came over from Nashville. So a couple of, Askarov's the goalie of the future. Nedeljkovic is, I think fair to say young enough that he could be a good 1A, 1B guy maybe for a few years if he plays well. We've seen kind of some inconsistencies in his game, but he does have some talent. There's no doubt. On the D core, this is going to be interesting. You could see a top six that has Muriel Ferrero, Timothy Liljegren, Orlov, Klingberg, Leddy, and Vinny Desharnais. These are all guys that are with the team, all NHL defensemen. And then on top of that, you've got Mukko Madulin, you got Jack Thompson, so you got Sam Dickinson, who looks ready to me. So that's way more guys than you need. I'm just not sure. Are they going to put somebody on waivers to make room for Dickinson? I don't know. I mean, there's more than enough guys here. So maybe they start the year with Dickinson playing in the AHL. Maybe these guys are. I suspect we could see 2 or 3 of them move throughout the season. I'm not sure, but there's more than enough capable D there. Even guys like Thompson and Mukko Madulin, are they going to go with more of a veteran D core? I just don't know. So I'm not sure how some of these younger guys are going to get ice time, or if some of these veteran guys are just not going to get much of a role. So that's going to be interesting to see. At forward, I suspect you're going to see probably a top line of Celebrini with Eklund and Toffoli. Second line very well could be Will Smith with a couple of veterans and Adam Gaudette and Jeff Skinner. We've heard the Sharks say that they expect guys like Gaudette and Skinner to get an opportunity to play top six. So, we'll see. Third line, Alex Wenberg could be the third line center, which is pretty likely. Guys like Kurashev, maybe Colin Graff could be the wingers there. Zach Ostapchuk could be a fourth line center. You got Barclay Gaudreau, Ty Dellandrea. But then that still leaves, where does Michael Misa fit? Does he get a chance to play either on the wing in the top six? Maybe put him with Will Smith, and maybe you drop down Gaudette, and maybe a guy like Kurashev or Dellandrea. I'm not sure. Somebody else could move down or come out. Guys like Carl Grundstrom and Ryan Reeves, we haven't even talked about those guys. I'm not sure that they can even grab a spot. I don't know that Ryan Reeves is going to be a regular. I really don't. I mean, you could put him in there, I guess, but who? Is there somebody else that's you're gonna not have in there that could be? I just don't get it. Grundstrom really had a tough year last year. I can see a scenario where he's either put on waivers or he's traded or he just is scratched. I'm not sure, but I'm not too concerned with Grundstrom. And really, the acquisition of Reeves to me was kind of pointless, but here we are. Misa's the one I do wonder about, but really, I think Misa should be playing over those guys, and maybe I would throw Misa on the second line with Will Smith, and then maybe Jeff Skinner. Move Gaudette, maybe he could play more on your third line. You have options there for sure, but they definitely have a few veteran guys that to me are blocking some young guys, and I just don't know if they're really going to get rolled. So I do wonder if Grundstrom, Reeves, guys like Darnay or Letty, Klingberg just signed, but some of these guys won't maybe not be there super long. But the questions facing the team going into the season is, can they be more competitive? I think the answer is yes. I think they can be. I don't think they're going to be a whole lot better than last year, but I do think they will be better. I do think they'll win a few more games, but you're still going to be seeing them near the bottom of the Pacific Division, at least I think so. I mean, should we see a sell-off of more veterans throughout the second half of the year? I mean, I think that's absolutely quite possible. A bunch of these guys could get moved, and it'll kind of just open the door to get more rookies playing time down the season. Can guys like Grundstrom and Reeves still play? I don't know. Could they end up on waivers? I mean, because trading them again is going to be challenging. They just picked up Reeves, so again, not sure what the future holds for them. And really, all in all, to me, the biggest question is just how much development are we going to see out of Celebrini, Smith? Will Misa get in there to be a regular? He should be. He's a darn good player. So this team could be very, very fun to watch, and it's also going to change throughout the year. But some of these veterans that they picked up, I just kind of question. I know you need some, but do they have too many? That's the question for me. And how many of these guys are how this team could be very, very different by the end of the season. But all in all, I expect this team to be more competitive, more fun, but still fairly low in the standings. Let me know your thoughts on the Sharks and the upcoming 25-26 season and expectations in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.